We're going to start with 8 cups of fresh greens, some Daiya vegan cheese, silken tofu, it should be firm or extra firm, panko breadcrumbs or matzo meal, half of an onion diced, 3 cups of dried noodles, and here we're just going to take the stem out of the kale leaf. So slide your knife right down the stem and pull the greens away. Finally chop, well, rough chop I guess, again removing any big stems. Do the same with some spinach, give it a nice rough chop. I use some pre-washed organic baby spinach here. And you could really use any sort of mild greens. I would experiment with dandelion greens, kale. We're going to dice the onion. And I love to save all my scraps to do a vegetable stock later. So all the peels, papers, stems, we'll save that all for later. Heat your pan over medium-high heat, and we're going to add 2 tablespoons of Earth Balance. Melt that in. Add the onions, and we're going to saute them until they're nice and slightly brown, beginning to caramelize, so that there'll be a little bit of sweetness. And then set them aside. We'll be mixing them into the spinach mixture later. Here I'm wilting the greens. I just started with a little bit of water in my same pan, and we're just gonna wilt the greens down. You do want to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste at this point. Any other seasonings that you want to add in. And then this part is important. You do want to squeeze out all the liquid from the greens. So I'm just using the tongs to do that. If you don't, then you're kind of creating a mushy mess when you make the kugel. Boil your water, break the long noodles into thirds, and cook until al dente. Drain the noodles and rinse with cold water, and then set aside. In my Vitamix, I'm going to add the silken tofu, the panko breadcrumbs, that's about 1.25 cups, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 cup of vegetable broth, I'm using low sodium, and the juice of half a lemon. Put it all into the Vitamix and puree until smooth. Grease your pan with a little bit of olive oil. And then here, to kind of create a crust on the bottom, I'm just using a little bit of onion soup mix. These are my drained noodles. We're going to add the tofu puree to the onions and the greens. Mix well. You want this to be really well incorporated before you mix in the noodles so that you don't break them. Pour it all into that well-greased and seasoned pan, and then press the top down so that it's nice and compact. You'll be able to slice it easier when it comes out of the oven this way. And last but not least, add some vegan cheese and more breadcrumbs as a topping. I use the Daiya mozzarella or Italian style cheese. You could use your favorite here. A little bit more breadcrumbs for a crunchy topping. And then bake that bad boy for 350 degrees for 30 minutes.